Close your eyes. Imagine yourself in a movie theatre. You're sitting comfortably, the lights are getting dimmer, and the film's about to start. Do you recognise the music? Does it conjure any memories for you? Make you feel anything in particular? What kind of film can you imagine playing? In this video essay, I'd like to show you how important music is in film. Music has served so many different purposes for so many thousands of years. From honouring the dead at funerals to birthing rituals throughout history. Societies have used music to tell stories, build relationships, and to serve art. However, since the advent of the motion picture, music has been used in an entirely new way. Filmmakers employ music to stir emotion, aid in storytelling, and to command attention, all in an effort to enhance the film viewing experience. Where would film be without it? First, I'm going to take you through a brief history of music in film. You see, music served a very different purpose in early cinema. When silent film was first introduced at the turn of the century, the film projector was anything but silent. Live musicians playing the piano or other instruments were partly used to mask the extraneous noise, and while serving this function, they were also used to illustrate and explain the action, not necessarily emotion. However, filmmakers soon realised the emotive potential of music, and in 2001, A.J. Cohen wrote, "An entire music for the silent film industry developed to support this function of music." For example, lots of anthologies were published to accompany silent films, with songs categorised into different moods and emotions. Here's what a movie theatre during the silent film era may have looked like. One of the first psychologists to direct attention to the new phenomenon of film was Hugo Münsterberg. Münsterberg suggested that music relieved tension, maintained interest, provided comfort, reinforced emotion, and contributed to the overall aesthetic experience. Münsterberg highlighted the importance of music within film and the use of music as a means of understanding the psychological processes underlying film. One quote from him says, "We come nearer the understanding on its, film's, true position in the aesthetic world if we think at the same time of the art of musical tones. They have overcome the outer world and social world entirely. They unfold our inner life, our mental play with its feelings and emotions, its memories and fancies." This seems to suggest that the impact of cinema is more similar to music
let it go
than to photography and drama.
I can't live like this anymore!
Okay, but then came 1927, which saw the release of The Jazz Singer, directed by Aaron Crosland. This film signalled the advent of talkies and the end of the silent film industry. In 1992, Kalanick said, "When talkies were first distributed, people believed that music wouldn't be needed. But films with just speech and sound effects, but no music, were short-lived." This is because it soon became apparent that music really adds a third dimension to the two-dimensional film screen. Therefore, as time passed, more and more filmmakers recognised the importance of music within film, and some even became particularly conscious of the convention of film scoring. A great example is a clip from the comedy Blazing Saddles from 1974. A sheriff rides out into the desert and suddenly meets with the Count. The collision of the diegetic and non-diegetic realities, mirrored by the film's score, creates humour in the scene. It's probably not coincidental that the director, Mel Brooks, was also a composer of music. Now sometimes, the film's soundtrack is so iconic that audiences know what's coming even before the film's characters do. Take the 1975 film Jaws. Ring any bells? Before Steven Spielberg became Hollywood royalty, he was just another young director with a giant shark problem. Spielberg wasn't Hollywood's first choice as director, and to make it in, he needed to make Jaws a blockbuster. He wanted realism, and therefore he built Bruce, a mechanical shark. Funny story though, despite a $250,000 investment, Bruce wasn't exactly low maintenance. And after serious damage, Spielberg had to figure out a way to tell the story without the shark. Inspired by Alfred Hitchcock, Spielberg realised it's what we don't see which is truly frightening. So without the visuals of the great white to scare the audience, Spielberg decided to rely on sound design and a repeated musical refrain to instill fear and to toy with our emotions, using our own imaginations against us. And if you think about it, the anticipation was scarier than the shark itself. A lot of research has been done into the psychology of music in film and how sound affects our interpretation of what we're seeing on screen. Buller, Yarn and Goldenring, film psychologists, employed professional composers of film music to create a total of 5 different pieces of background music for the same 10-minute film segment. Analysis showed that the audience felt the film belonged to different genres depending on the music played, often in line with the intention of the musical score. The viewers also assigned different emotions to the film clip and even predicted different outcomes of the scene, depending on the music played. One example the authors highlighted was that final closure with a major chord, often perceived as happy, would lead to the audience believing that the film's characters had reconciled their differences following an argument. Nowadays, we can see filmmakers and composers using music in different and exciting ways, like Pixar, who use contrast between the mood of the music and the mood of the scene to pull on our heartstrings. In Up, the composer played a theme associated with sadness, the death of a main character, Ellie, over happy scenes to remind us of the bonds between characters and to represent deeper messages the film is trying to convey. Joe Harrington claimed that half of the storytelling ability is sound, and I think this is undeniably true. I know from personal experience that hearing a song from a favourite childhood movie can bring on a whole host of emotions. I think that the real magic of music in film is its ability to affect our emotions without us knowing it. As A.J. Cohen said, music in film is made with the understanding that it won't be attended to consciously. But in my opinion, that doesn't make it any less important. The value of film music is further proven by its continual evolution since the turn of last century. We can see the result of an increasing amount of thought put into film music from the early days when many films just used the same generic tracks. For example, in Baby Driver, Edgar Wright wrote every song he used into his script, storyboarding each shot with the music in mind. I mean, just imagine your favourite film without any music.